Well, the Grand Grief Gang has yet again orchestrated a devastating attack against the people of Artibonite and specifically the people of Savan. Yes, this is the same locality that I did a video just yesterday informing you that the MSS and the HNP had gained ground in that particular area and had retaken a police station in Savan. The people of Savan are led to become victims of barbarism that seem not to encounter any obstacles. Well, that is the story that I'm going to give you today. This is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly subscribe and hit the notification button so that when I release something new on what is happening in Haiti, you get notified as soon as possible. A devastating attack that happened in Savan in the morning of Wednesday, the 11th of December 2024. This attack claimed the lives of 12 people, 10 people being adults and 2 being children in that particular place. And all these people, all these lives that were claimed were innocent. They were not involved in any gang activity, nor were they involved in law enforcement. These are purely innocent people, lives that have been claimed by the activities of the Grand Grave Gang in Savan in the Artibonite region. Well, it is claimed that the armed gangs orchestrated this heinous attack against the people, the innocents of Savan, because of the relaunch of the Bouakale movement in that region. And this came just as the police and the MSS retook that police station, and that gave hope to the civilians. Well, it is reported that the armed gangs orchestrated this heinous act against the civilians because of the relaunch of the Bouakale movement in that particular place. And the Bouakale movement, as we have said time and time again, is a grouping of civilians who are tired of gang influence in Haiti that come together to fight these gangs actively and expel them from these particular regions. So that is the reason that was given by these armed gangs for doing this attack, that there have been a relaunch of the Bouakale movement in Savan, and that is something that they don't want. They don't want the civilians to come together to fight the gangs. They want to have total control over these territories, and any kind of threat is dealt with in a sad manner, as was seen in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, 11th of December 2024. And this hope or this movement of Bouakale came with the fact that the police and the MSS retook this police station and assured the civilians in that particular place that they will be safe, they will be secure, and that hope now reinvented or relaunched this Bouakale movement of civilians to come and guard themselves, protect themselves from these gangs, and that did not augur well with the gangs. And now the gangs did this attack as a warning or as a form of sign that they don't want the Bouakale movement to be present in that particular place. They don't want to be fought by the civilians, and thus the leader commanded that the gang members should go to that particular place and orchestrate the heinous attack against the innocent civilians in Savan. Well, and as I started by saying, this attack just came after the MSS and the HNP retook that police station in Savan and told the people of Savan that they can now go on with their activities safely, that the law enforcement is in the area, and several measures were put in place after that retaking of that police station. They say that all people traveling in that area should be traveling with their IDs, that there will be a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. But despite these interventions by the law enforcement, the gangs still waged an attack against the innocents of Savan. And now that put the people of Savan into question about their future, about what will happen next. Because right now the law enforcement has some presence in that place, but the gangs are still attacking the people. They are conducting their heinous activities against the innocents of Savan. They are leading to loss of lives and loss of property because they also burnt their houses. This is significant to what they do. And on top of that, people are reported missing in that particular locality. As tradition for these gangs, they don't only go and attack a place and burn properties and cause a loss of lives. They also go ahead to kidnap people for ransom. That is like their primary source of earnings in that area. They kidnap people, then they ask for ransom. And that happened just yesterday because people are reported missing. And that just tells you that these people might have been kidnapped, and a ransom will be asked for these people to give their dues to these particular gangs or give their loyalty to these particular gangs so that their loved ones can be set free to come back to their homes again. Well, another point to note is that this attack took place near the Henry Christopher School. And this Henry Christopher School is a symbolic place in this particular region where the attack took place, just showing that these gangs are not afraid to go out in the public and do whatever they did. It is also important to note that the witnesses to this attack say that these gang members conducted their activities with unprecedented violence, meaning that they didn't really give much concern about the value of life. They didn't care about the repercussions of what they are doing. They just went on with the attack without even regard of human life. This just shows the gravity of the situation that is in Haiti right now, that these gang members don't even care about the future of the people in their particular territories. They have just to send a message, and their message always claims lives. Just this week, we've reported about different places where people have lost their lives because of gang violence. And this just shows that these gang members are operating in different places in Haiti. It's not only Port-au-Prince, but even outside Port-au-Prince, the gang violence is still as lethal as it can be, is still as devastating to the locals as it can be, because people are losing their lives, they are losing their properties, and hope is being lost day and day because of this brutality that these gangs are waging against the innocent people in these particular territories. Well, many have also questioned the strategy that the law enforcement is using, because this has not happened just once. It has happened in Port-au-Prince and other parts of Haiti, where the law enforcement will take over a particular place, and then that will lead to some sort of retaliation from these gangs. And the retaliation always claims lives. The retaliation always leads to loss of property and devastation amongst the people who are supposed to be protected by this law enforcement. So this puts into question the strategies that the law enforcement is putting on these counterattacks of these gangs, because once they go to a place, once they secure this critical infrastructure, once they put up a base, these gangs will always come back and retaliate. And their form of retaliation is by attacking innocent people in that particular place. So perhaps there is a need to have a post recapture strategy where, when you have a plan to capture this police station, maybe you need to also consider where these gangs have their stronghold, specific places, so that you can go and guard the population, because there will be a retaliation thereafter. And this retaliation is what now is making these civilians to suffer the most, because they are left without anyone to protect them at that particular point, because perhaps the MSS or the police are within a specific small locality near the police station. They have recaptured the police station. But what about the people who are a bit far away from that police station, a bit far away from these particular points where they have recaptured that infrastructure? Then it means that they are left to be at the mercies of these gangs, and that is the opportunity that these gangs take to give their retaliation, to give their aggression against the innocents of that particular place, and it leads to loss of lives. Well, the police have announced that they have stepped up checks and security in these areas where the attack happened. But even as we question the strategies that the police are using, we have also to be alive to the fact that they are understaffed. They don't have enough resources. They don't have the capacity to go to wider areas and promise that all these particular wider regions will be safe from the gangs who have more people and have more sophisticated weapons. So it is a question of to what length will the police and the MSS be able to protect the people in these particular areas, and what kind of strategy will be used basing on the fact that they are understaffed, that they are under-resourced, so that they can promise these people their future. They can promise them that they can see tomorrow, because as things are right now, the gangs are taking advantage of the understaffing and the under-resourced police and law enforcement to do whatever they want to do, to retaliate, to hurt the civilians in view of them being angry at the police or the law enforcement having penetrated in these particular areas. So that is what is happening currently. The Grand Grave Gang has waged a retaliation against the people of Artibonite, and specifically the people of Savan, because of the gains that the law enforcement had done in that particular place, and the fact that the Bwakale movement has relaunched in that particular place to hunt these gang leaders, and that did not augur well with them, and that is why they are taking this kind of a retaliatory act that has led to the loss of lives of 12 people